It's Oscar season, Craig. The big event is coming up. Our Super Bowl.
Yes.
As it were. To me, of the Best Picture nominees, the two standouts are Birdman and Grand Budapest.
Boyhood, too.
I think they're the most unique films.
More unique than Boyhood?
Yes.
There's never been a Boyhood before.
I know there's never been a Boyhood, and I know that's why Boyhood is going to win Best Picture,
yes.
And it frustrates me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Boyhood, the finished film, is not perfect.
No.
Grand Budapest Hotel and Birdman are such unique stories and such unique visions that I just want them to win all the awards, whether they deserve it or not.
But I will be surprised if Grand Budapest wins anything.
I'm worried that people see it as this, like, fancy bauble without substance.
And it is about something. It's about the impending doom that's going to happen throughout Europe in World War II.
Right.
You know, so it's a lot more substantive than the usual Wes Anderson boy looking for a father movie.
Yeah.
Which it's also a Wes Anderson boy looking for a father movie.
And I'd love to see Michael Keaton win Best Actor, but he's not going to win Best Actor.
No, he could win Best Actor.
Eddie Redmayne is going to win Best Actor.
Eddie Redmayne
for a
isn't
great
win.
performance in a very mediocre film.
Yeah. Of the 8 nominations, only 2 of them have left me completely satisfied. One of them is Whiplash, and Whiplash is not going to win.
The last 5 minutes of that movie are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen an ending like that. It's one of those endings where you're just like, whoa, what does it mean? What's happening?
Exactly. Whiplash leaves a lot of questions unanswered.
Right.
You don't know what's going to go on with these people, but it ends and you're like satisfied.
And I watched that ending and it happened and I was like, that's not right. What? They didn't do it right. And then I thought, oh wait, yes, they did do it right.
Yes.
You have to catch up with it, you know.
I saw it in a theater with maybe 7 other people in it, and I wanted to applaud. But you can only applaud in a movie theater if there are dozens of people there. You can't be the one crazy guy sitting up front going, ooh, drumming.
To close it out here, I would like to present to you, in case you haven't seen Foxcatcher, we'd like to do the 10-second version of Foxcatcher, and there'll be no spoilers.
Okay.
So I'll play Mark Ruffalo, and you be everyone else.
All right.
Hey, you doing okay? Okay. I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. Well, Craig, it's almost Valentine's Day, and that means tonight is our date night. We're going to watch a romantic movie. Now, typically in the past, we've watched a doomed romance.
Yes.
But over these past 3 years, there's been an elephant in the room. And I think it's about time we tackle the doomed romance. And I think you know what I'm talking about. There have been many versions of this story that have been brought to the big screen, so it was tough for me to decide which one, but I've opted for this one, Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet.
Ah, excellent. Hello. Don't want to tell how it ends.
Oh.
Don't get your hopes up. It ends poorly.
You've seen this?
Well, I've seen most of it because there's a scene that Mrs. Iglar back in 9th grade fast-forwarded over.
Oh, okay. Released in 1968, Romeo and Juliet went on to win Oscars for cinematography and costume design. It grossed nearly $40 million at the American box office. The reason why it was so popular among young people is that the 2 leads, Leonard Whiting and the unfortunately named Olivia Hussey, she should go talk to Poots.
Yes.
We're close to the actual age of the 2 star-crossed lovers in the story. Signor Zeffirelli has brought 4 Shakespeare plays to the screen, including Taming of the Shrew with Richard Burton and Liz Taylor, and Hamlet with Mel Gibson.
My first Hamlet.
Mine too, I think.
Yeah.
This film was the inspiration for the Radiohead song Exit Music for a Film, which Tom York composed for the Baz Luhrmann film Romeo plus Juliet.
I see. I'm excited. We get to see some Michael York, who was kind of the Billy Zane of the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah. So you're familiar with this story, right?
A little bit.
Do you understand it?
Yes, I do.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, just in case, here's your gift.
Oh, okay. The Cliff Notes of Romeo and Juliet.
You can use that to follow along while we watch the movie, if you need to.
Act 2, Scene 1. Romeo on his way home from... Romeo? I didn't know there was a Romeo in this. Maybe I'm not as familiar as I thought.
And I promise that I won't bite my thumb at you.
You better not.
Well, wherefore art thou, old leather couch? Let us go to thee and watch Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet.
You do know that wherefore means why, right?
Shut up, nerd.
A feud has been raging for many years between the houses of Capulet and Montague.
Hey, put that away. Do it right.
A feud has been raging for many years between the houses of Capulet and Montague.
A couple of servants from both houses encounter each other in the street. They start to fight.
It all has to do with some thumb biting.
I do not bite my thumb at you, sir. But I do bite my thumb, sir.
Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Benvolio shows up. He's the voice of reason. He says, hey guys, don't fight, be cool. But then Tybalt shows up. He's a Capulet, and he starts some shit.
Capulet!
There's a huge brawl in the street.
My opera house!
The fighting continues until the prince arrives.
3 civil brawls, bred of an airy word by thee, old Capulet. And Montague
You I like.
have thrice disturbed the quiet of our streets.
Psych.
I've had enough of your crap. If any other fights like this happen, if anyone dies or gets hurt, I'm putting whoever did it to death. This was the only song in the 1600s. So that's how we begin this romantic love story.
Romeo arrives, and he has a chat with Benvolio.
Good morrow, cousin.
Have you seen the latest miniature plays on ThouTube? I do like the one about the cat. Meanwhile, in the Capulet household, Juliet emerges from her chamber, and she discusses the possibility of marriage with her mother and her nurse. She is 14, after all.
Nearly 14, not until Lammas Eve, if you know what I mean.
We will immediately marry her off to Joffrey Baratheon. The Montagues and their various pals go to crash a party at the Capulet house. They got masks on, so no one will be able to tell who they are.
Dreamers often lie. In bed.
In bed, he knows that little fortune cookie trick. On the way, Mercutio, who's kind of the funny one of the group, tells a little fairy tale about Queen Mab.
She is the fairy's midwife. And sometime comes she with a tied pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as he lies asleep.
This is all true. It happened to my uncle. Romeo's got a bad feeling about this night, but he goes to the party anyway.
Party, party, party. There's Benedict and Beatrice and Rosalind and Orlando. Everyone's here. Is that King Oberon?
That's your ultimate fantasy.
Yeah, that's my party.
Where he sees Juliet.
High five.
Hey, Macarena. And he falls in love.
One might say at first sight.
She doth teach the torches to burn bright.
It's a wild party.
Tybalt sees that there's a bunch of Montagues there.
But his father says, hey, relax, it's a party.
We have to enjoy ourselves and we can't be killing each other anymore because of old Princey.
Finally, Romeo and Juliet meet.
He has to meet her as creepy as possible by just grabbing her hand.
Would you allow me to mac on you? I was talking to you.
Oh, no.
Okay. Fair enough.
Hey, you're beautiful. And she's like, you're alright too. Let's kiss each other's lips like holy palmers do.
Oh, and I have herpes. Bye!
Your mother craves a word with you.
And an apple.
He that shall lay hold of her shall have the chinks.
The
Whoa,
chinks.
whoa,
Yeah,
whoa. Not cool.
I learned this word from Marco Polo.
Romeo ditches his friends and he finds Juliet's balcony.
She's up there wondering,
Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized.
What man art thou, that thus be screened in...
lower. Yeah. You're looking at my clavicles.
There's some climbing and more kissing. Oh man, these two are in love with each other. Juliet, I hear dry humping.
Why don't we get married? I know we just met a couple hours ago, but I think I can make this work.
Romeo!
You're a Montague, aren't you? Forget everything I just said.
Parting is such sweet sorrow.
She's right. Farting is such sweet sorrow, especially in public. Well, parting.
Parting?
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
The next day, Romeo meets up with Friar Lawrence and tells him of his plans to secretly marry Juliet.
Friar Lawrence thinks maybe a marriage between a Montague and a Capulet might bring these two warring families together.
The two young lovers go to Friar Lawrence's cell.
You guys can kiss for the rest of your life. All 8 days of it.
And they are wed. It's the holy hand grenade.
Intermission?
Are we in a different movie now? Mercutio is out playing in a fountain one day when he is accosted by Tybalt.
Let's have a duel. Mercutio's like, maybe later. And it's like, oh, actually, that guy, Romeo, I saw him macking on my cousin. Tybalt challenges Romeo to a duel, and Romeo's like, no, man, we're brothers now. I love you. Tybalt's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Therefore, turn and draw.
And Mercutio picks a fight with Tybalt.
So they have a very, one might say, playful duel in the town square.
They're just messing around, but it quickly turns serious.
Romeo tries to stop this, and in the confusion, Tybalt accidentally stabs Mercutio. Mercutio is such a joker, everyone thinks that he's faking being wounded.
He has a little parting words for the Montagues and the Capulets.
A plague on both your houses!
And he dies. It's all fun and games until etc., etc.
Who's laughing now? No one. Particularly Romeo. You killed my best friend, Tybalt. I'm gonna kill you. There's another fight scene. It gets particularly brutal.
I'm gonna kill me another Montague. It's gonna be a 2 Montague day.
Yep.
And Romeo kills Tybalt.
That is not the Capulet that I wanted to have lying on top of me today.
I'm fortune's Romeo!
And this causes a little problem, you see, because
The punishment for killing Tybalt is death, but since Romeo did it to avenge his friend Mercutio, the sentence is commuted to exile. Romeo will be sent from the land and away from his love. Romeo's real sad about this, but then he has sex, and he feels better.
there we go. That's the part that my English teacher skipped.
Jocund day stands tiptoe on the misty mountain tops.
Juliet finds out the next day that her father has arranged a marriage.
Paris, this lame-o who she doesn't love.
I am a turtle man.
And the wedding is going to happen in like 2 days. How is she going to get out of it?
Friar Lawrence is like, oh, this is a crazy idea, but how about this?
He's a little bit of a junior chemist, and he puts together a potion that will make her seem like she's dead. He'll tell Romeo what's going on. Romeo will come to the tomb, she'll wake up, he'll take her away, and they'll have a happy life together.
Juliet's like, that's a great idea. Give me the potion.
Good morning, I poisoned a kid, it's a good day. He sends Romeo a letter immediately.
She downs the potion. The next morning, she's discovered dead. While she's being buried in the family tomb,
Romeo's friend Balthazar sees the funeral, and he rushes to Romeo quicker than the letter can get to him.
She's dead, my lord. She's dead.
he heads back to Verona. He breaks into the tomb.
You know, this started out so funny.
Yeah.
Thumb biting and crazy nurses, and now look at where we're at.
Yeah.
He's got a vial of poison with him.
Here's to my love.
A shot of Jaeger to my love. Oh, Jägermeister, you're so gross.
So Romeo's dead.
Juliet wakes up from her unnatural slumber. She sees that he's dead. Friar Lawrence is there, and he's like, we gotta get out of here. And she's like, no, I don't want to leave. And he says, I don't see ya. I gotta go. Juliet, despondent, takes a dagger and stabs herself.
Romeo and Juliet are together in eternity.
Don't you try to convince me to commit suicide.
Don't fear
I know what that song is all about.
Don't fear the Reaper, Matt.
I fear the Reaper.
Caesars don't fear the Reaper. This shakes up the town quite a bit. Prince is like, good job, jerks. This is what happens when you're mean to each other.
All are punished!
For 2 weeks, all of you.
Peace is made through tragedy.
Craig, I made you a promise at the beginning of this, and I'm sorry to say I don't intend to keep it.
Oh, why?
Oh, Craig, why? She doth teach the torches to burn bright. That's our Juliet. Wanted to show this to you. I just found this in a thrift store days ago.
Ah, well, look at that. You can listen to the feast at the House of Capulet to your heart's delight. What's your history with Romeo and Juliet?
I've never read the play.
Wow.
I took a Shakespeare course in college. I read a lot of Shakespeare in high school. I never read Romeo and Juliet.
How do you miss this one?
Yeah, it's crazy. I know the story.
Oh,
I mean,
of course, yeah.
the main thing that struck me are the two duels. The way that they built the tension in the Mercutio-Tybalt duel is just masterful.
And then when it gets to the point where Romeo and Tybalt are like tearing each other's shirts off and wrestling.
I know.
Duels aren't like, I'm Errol Flynn. It's like, no. If you're going to kill someone, you got to use your whole body.
You got to fight like dogs in the dirt.
The complaint that always arises when a play is transferred to the screen is that it's too stagey. And how do you break out of that box? That never seems to be a flaw of Shakespearean adaptations.
Right.
You know, you see portions of the Capulet house that you don't see in the play. Her bedroom, and how important that bedroom is, how the nurse is stripping the bed while she's telling Juliet to forget Romeo and marry Paris. She's like literally removing the evidence that they've consummated their marriage. You know what I can't stand?
What?
The Queen Mab speech.
Her wagon spokes are made of long spinner's legs.
It's speeches like that which make kids hate Shakespeare. Here, I'm going to ramble on for a page and a half about something that you don't know what I'm talking about. You know, the Queen of the Fairies, and she makes horses whinny. Whenever I listen to it, and I've heard any number of different renditions of it, I'm still like, what the hell is he talking about? But you need it because, you know, that would be like cutting To Be or Not to Be from Hamlet.
Well, speaking of cuts, what were some notable cuts in this version from the text?
There's a long speech that Juliet has right before she drinks a potion to fake her death, and she goes through all the possible outcomes of what it's going to be. What if the friar's actually poisoning me? Or what if I wake up too soon and I'm in the tomb? I club my brains with the joints of my ancestors. And this is really intense speech, and it's gone.
And they cut, it is the East and Juliet is the Sun.
An odd omission.
Yeah.
What is a tragedy?
Fatal flaw.
There usually has to be a moment of realization, right?
Yes.
When do Romeo and Juliet have that?
You could say that Romeo's moment of realization is I am Fortune's fool.
I've seen a couple of stage productions, and the first time I saw this, it just floored me. Romeo drinks the potion, looks up at Juliet, and Juliet just does one of these. And he's like, oh! And he dies. Right then, it became a tragedy because Romeo realizes that he made a mistake.
Romeo's tragic flaw is that he acts without thinking.
Yeah.
If he hadn't challenged Tybalt to the duel, he could have gone to the prince and say, Tybalt killed Mercutio, Tybalt would be put to death. And then he acts too soon with the poison. If he had just not done that, or said like, okay, I'm going to see if I can live with this, then she would have eventually woken up.
He also acts too soon by just falling in love with Juliet.
I'd like to take a minute to talk about the villain of the play. Is the villain Tybalt? Is the villain old Capulet? No, the villain is Balthazar, the dopey friend with the fast horse who ruins everything.
Yes.
If that guy would have not stuck his nose into the whole thing, Romeo and Juliet would still be alive today.
That is true, but everyone is culpable for their deaths. Friar Lawrence for his plan, Friar John for going too slow, Tybalt for being a hothead, Mercutio for being a hotshot. Even the prince himself is indicted at the end when he admits that he has been winking at their discords.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so everyone helped out.
Well, that's how life works, you know? There's all kinds of connections, even ones you can't see.
And everyone's just trying to kill you.
It's an odd conclusion to draw, but okay.
It keeps me paranoid.
Well, if you haven't seen this version of Romeo and Juliet, you check it out. You don't have to be Fortune's fool. Instead, you can go to our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can see all the episodes that we've ever made, and there's a PayPal donation button you can donate to support this show. A few ducats.
Florins and Guilders.
A couple of fine lords and ladies have done just this. Here are their names. Brian, who says, love the show, guys. Yins, Joe, Mark. Thanks again for continuing to make my favorite show on YouTube, your biggest Irish fan. Wyatt, for Craig's comment from the Pet Cemetery episode, but welcome to movies, kids. My girlfriend says hi. That's where you called those kids fat and ugly.
Yeah.
See,
yeah,
not everybody disliked it. Stefan, Matthew, Andrew, welcome to the basement is better than ever. Spit in your bucket made me nearly, literally lose it. That was a comment from our previous episode, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. And Ray, who says, I noticed that you and Craig like to sip vino whilst filming. Sometimes. Can we have a toast to your show? Sure. Here's to our show.
There we go.
And to Ray, and to all the donors who've helped us out.
Thanks.
I'd also like to thank everyone for all their thoughtful comments about the passing of our cat, Tiger. It means a lot to us, just as she meant a lot to us, so I really appreciate that. Here's a physical address where you can send us stuff. Over the holidays, we got this lovely Christmas card from Shelby, Gwen, and Misty. And from Jean-Francois, a postcard from Mauritius.
Wow.
On his vacation.
It looks like it's come a very long way.
Yeah.
I can smell the ocean.
But soft, what's seen it through yonder window breaks?
These are the movies that have pierced our eyes.
Tonight's Seen It is our Oscar edition. We're going to be discussing more movies that have been nominated for Oscars. Jordan Romaker writes best, The Lego Movie, Seen It.
Seen it.
Why the damn hell why did this not be nominated for Best Animated Movie?
I don't know why.
Because it has live action sequences in it?
That shouldn't matter.
No, it
because
shouldn't.
WALL-E has live action sequences in it. The live action sequence makes the story resonate that much more.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. Olivia Cooper writes, have you seen Whiplash? That movie was astounding and had me grinning in the theater like a Cheshire cat. Seen it.
Seen it.
Oh, try again. That's not my tempo.
Seen it.
Nope. You're dragging.
No. Seen.
You're rushing. You're rushing.
Okay.
That's Whiplash.
Yes, that's Whiplash. Paige Corinne Lecter asks, have you or Matt seen Wild yet? Seen it.
Seen it. Like a heavy backpack, it weighed me down and made me think.
Mm-hmm. But you got used to it and it made you stronger?
I gotta hand it to Reese Witherspoon, of course, but the movie itself, I don't know, it didn't leave much with me. It just seemed like Into the Wild with a happy ending.
There was that.
And a shorter title.
It reminded me a lot of Frances Ha. Here's a woman making mistakes.
Another good movie that I didn't love.
Yeah, but in the end, it's rewarding.
The Scary Nymph. Did you guys see Gone Girl? I think the most thrilling part of the movie was that the women left the theater looking invincible and their male partners slightly frightened. Seen it.
Seen it.
I really, really liked Gone Girl.
I wasn't expecting to be so much of a commentary on the mob mentality in the digital age, which was a pleasant surprise.
I bet Neil Patrick Harris will have some jokes in his Oscar monologue about it.
Yeah.
Stay away from me, Rosamund.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gay, and I also like to be...
Spoiler. You can't... I'm a gay man. Phil Bone writes, I really like the imitation game, inaccuracies and all. I was thinking, man, I don't care how long this movie is, this story is really interesting. Seen it.
Seen it. I think it condenses history in an effective way without taking too much artistic license.
Also, I think it's really admirable how Benedict Cumberbatch, who became famous for playing asshole genius, found an entirely different way to play an asshole genius in this movie.
Very much removed from his Sherlock character.
Yes. That's Seen It.
And that's our show. Thanks for joining us for the Shakespearean epic romantic tragedy Romeo and Juliet. Wow, my heart is racing.
Yeah.
And we hope that you had a good time joining us. Please join us next time when we're going to be watching another movie.
What movie?
I'm not going to tell. Damn it. Goodbye.
Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Hey. Why did the father transform into the mother?
Because she got the blessing from both. It's called editing. You familiar with such things, Matt?
I was making a joke. And you were making it serious. You know how that worked out for Tybalt.